Hi, I'm Sophie, and I haven't seen a lot of films.
Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm here to help with that. And we are
SP, Film Viewers.
Woo! Rock and roll!
Everyone expecting that, but I don't know how I feel about you doing that. Give it another go.
Yeah, rock and roll!
That's better. Yeah, that's better. It sounded like a girl on a little fun ride initially. Woo! Sorry.
So, the reason I'm doing that is we're going to be talking about a music comedy rockumentary, if you will. And the film is called This is Spinal Tap.
So, yet again, I have no clue what this is or anything, really. I saw the front cover and it's got Stonehenge on the front.
For the context of that is part of a packaging of a special edition thing I got a while back, but I don't have the amp that kind of came with it anymore. Don't know where that's gone. It's a little tiny mini amp.
I'm looking at you completely confused. Yeah. I'm sure I'd know if there was an amp in this house.
Yeah. I think it was something you could just plug you connect your phone to or something. It's something like a mini speaker. Yeah, basically. Yeah,
that's a shame.
Yeah, so the Stonehenge is a symbolic of something that happens in the film anyway.
So with this one, I was looking at the front going, okay, I don't really know what this is. I don't know. And the Spinal Tap, I was thinking, is it going to be something to do with somebody's spine?
Yeah, it's not a horror film, no.
Or they've had an injury or something, so they're having some spinal operation. Right. I don't know. I didn't think it was going to be a band. And then we didn't really go into any more on that, did we? You didn't really get me.
No. It's kind of because there's not really a synopsis as such of what it is. It's kind of just on the road with this fictional band, and how they're doing at the concerts, and just the day-to-day stuff that they're doing kind of thing. So it's kind of just a documentary style kind of thing, but it's deemed one of the funniest films.
Oh Jesus!
Oh
God, wish me luck. Yeah. You know me with comedies. I'll be sat there not even laughing.
Tough nut to crack, really. We kind of talk comedy. I know it's kind of subjective, but I find it quite amusing at parts. It's not rip-roaringly funny, but
okay.
I haven't seen it in a while, but I think it's one of those things that kind of grows on you a little bit with the humour. Initially, you might be okay, but then, I don't know, you kind of you know what to expect.
I hope I don't upset you with me, not being interested with the humour and being not laughing.
Okay. Well, we also have a guest join us when we come back from watching the film.
Yeah, and he has been on previously as well as a guest, so that's... I don't know if that gives it a clue or not. I don't know.
Not as such, but he is in a band now, so
hopefully
he's got some
relate
insight
to this. Yeah,
very much. I'm looking forward to hearing what he has to say about it. Really.
I'm really interested. I feel like you two are going to be probably more beneficial on this than me. I don't know how much I'm going to be bringing. My only rock band history is Guitar Hero, and that is it. I had a bit of an emo phase, when everybody did, and then it's gone. So, I know a couple of songs, but I'm one of those people who, again, we like movies. I know the song and I can sing it to you, but who actually is the artist and what the song's called?
Right. Okay.
I won't know.
Obviously, the band isn't real, so the songs are all written for the film, basically. Yeah, so they're not real, based on real songs or anything. That makes sense.
Yeah?
Yeah. So it's their own material, yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah.
Looking forward to it. Yeah. Anything better than what we've been kind of having to watch last month, so I'm excited.
Okay. Right, well, we will speak to you in a short while then with our guest.
We'll be speaking to you shortly.
You see, most blokes, be playing at 10. You're on 10 here, all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. You're on 10 on your guitar. Where can you go from there? Where?
I don't know.
Nowhere, exactly. What we do is, if we need that extra push over the cliff, you know what we do?
Put it up to 11.
11, exactly. One louder.
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
And we're back from checking out This is Spinal Tap. And also we have a very special guest joining us, who is a bit of a musician himself. Please welcome back Mike Millitello. How are you, sir?
Hello. One and all. I am great. How you guys been?
Fantastic, yeah, and very psyched to have you back to be talking about something of the music genre, really, a music-related film again, almost, from the, obviously, last time you joined us, we were talking about Pirate Radio or The Boat That Rocked, which surprisingly is still quite one of the most popular listened to episodes of our entire series, which is kind of kind of weird, but of all things. But I don't know why, but it's really popular. So
it truly is such a great movie. So was this one. Like, whenever you take a movie and you have such a big focus on music, I usually like how they turn out. There's only been a couple that I haven't. So,
but you've also just recently released an album. Is it a debut album with your new band?
Yes, it is. My band Ashes Rise. We just released our debut album called Thoughts in My Head on basically all streaming platforms. You can get it. You put it on your Instagram stories, the Snapchats, all that fun stuff. But yeah, we just released that. I believe it was on the 8th there. And so far, I mean, it's been doing great. It's got a real wide range of from like your harder rock to like thrash metal to there's a ballad in there, and there's even an acoustic song in there as well. So it's very much a finding the band's sound that we want to go with forward, as well as lyrically wise, just kind of breaking down how we think about specific things there. So the whole Thoughts in My Head there is kind of like how bringing out how we're perceiving these different things, especially with things going on today, though.
So I've had to listen to the album actually, and it's right up my kind of alley, really, in terms of that hard rock, metal, like screamo kind of metalcore thing that's going on. So Sophie had listened to it, be like,
I'm not gonna lie, the little bit of screamo for me, it's not maybe my thing. I think I had an emo stage. I don't know if you had that in America, where like
yep
probably I was about 16 years old. Everyone like listened to My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so, yeah, exactly. So that was like the extent of it.
Yeah, I think that's literally it. I used to play Guitar Hero, so like any music like kind of hard rock is literally from playing Guitar Hero. That's like my knowledge.
Well, like and like my girlfriend there, she's really not big into the screaming stuff. That's the reason why I wanted to put like like Little Things and Thank You. So it still has a little bit of that softer feel there. Save It All there, and then. If you don't like heavy, I'd stay away from the first couple songs of the album because it starts to mellow out as you get towards the end there. In the beginning there, when we first started writing, originally it was supposed to be like an entire like pop punk album. And then we started tuning down guitars there. And then all of a sudden we started adding this and that. Next thing you know, we got to where we were on the album. It's like, okay, this is new territory, but it's really fun to play though. That's for sure.
The songs I like, that stand out for me, like the opening one, which obviously, like you say, like a really heavy opener, gets you in the frame of mind for like what's to come kind of thing. And then I think it's Pour It On is the other one I really kind of vibe with. Yeah.
Pour It On's very much it. So I guess with In God We Trust, we were trying to figure out a way to like open up the album. Like, okay, it's got to be something that shows what the band's all about. So it starts off with that guitar riff, and then it just starts building on. And it just stays heavy there. And then Pour It On there, we're like, dude, all these are serious. Like, we need a party song. So I'm sure if you even listen to the lyrics there too, it's just about going out to the bar there and seeing like a live band, hanging out, getting completely schmammered with your buddies there and just having a great time.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. That's great. And now we'll get on to talking about the film in question. So this is Spinal Tap. We'll start off with you, Mike, as like a generalization of how you found the film. I understand this was your first time watching this as well as Sophie.
It's so I mean, I've heard about it through, like, I heard little snippets like that. I guess back in the day people thought Spinal Tap was a real band, I guess.
Yeah.
And well, I guess all the members actually like performed it though. Like all the actors actually performed in the recordings.
Yeah.
And like Christopher Guest like wrote, I think, like all the music there, and the fact that Michael McKean, who plays David there, is actually singing that blows my mind. So that gave me even more of a drive to actually check it out, because most of the time there you get like Mark Wahlberg and Rockstar there where he's just lip syncing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I believe they actually did like a couple of like tours as obviously the actors like singing as the band down years down the line, I think, as well. It's kind of like they carried on with it, making it seem like they were a real band in actual real life, not just in the film, which is kind of cool.
So, I think that's awesome. The fact that these actors who are also musicians are able to go on multiple tours there and pull it off. Like if you're that good at what you're doing there, to like basically have everybody convinced, that's amazing.
Well, to be fair to me, when I watched this, I was like, is this actually a film? And are they a band? And I actually just thought it was like an old band that they were doing like a documentary on or something like that. That's literally what it felt like. And Paul was like looking at me thinking, no, Sophie, it's just a movie. And I'm like, what? So these people aren't like actually singers? And
yeah, they are. It's obviously making fun of the whole like the Mike, you might know, I don't know, probably more than me, in fact, but about that whole like the complications you have within the band, like rubbing shoulders with other bands like on tour, or there's a bit of rivalry between like a guitarist and the bassist or something like that kind of thing might be occurring as you tour, and like oh, you bringing your girlfriend along, kind of thing. It's just vibe, ruining the vibe. Yeah,
they do a very tasteful version of it without it being like too like insulting or anything on it.
Yes.
And just in the very beginning there with their like first initial interviews with their responses and to the questions and whatnot, like that gives it just more of that goofiness than that like insulting sense behind it there.
Yeah.
And so when they wrote this, they did a great job of going the correct way about it there. But like you were saying, Sophie, it's I did notice that too. It's like a band that's already been established there, how it's been, I think, like 20-25 years that they've already been going. So you're kind of like seeing like the descent of the band's career there. So like I picture it as they've already had this big huge following and all that, and then all of a sudden now they're kind of expecting the same, but it's not quite the same there.
It's just not. Yeah
It's kind of sad for them, really, isn't it? It's like done in a humorous way, but to be fair, it is like they were a star on stage, and then now they're declining, and the popularity of them is just not there anymore. They did say it was like a cliche kind of rock band thing, and then you could see, even though I was daft, there was a clip of the like what looked like the Beatles to me, and I was like, okay. And I thought it was like the Beatles straight away, and Paul's like, no, Sophie, it's not. And I'm like, but they were trying to do different genres of music just to keep with
like
the trend,
musical trend of the so this is like one of the, I think the cab driver or whatever, the limo drivers like say, oh, this is just a fad or phase or whatever. And it's so like I say that when they were started out in a different band entirely, they were kind of like you say, like looking like the was it David O'Sullivan show where the Beatles first performed, and then obviously like more hippy dippy vibe in the 70s they went for again with the sitar type thing and all that kind of stuff. We saw the footage, so it's kind of it's obviously making a joke of that whole like how music's changed, all that of that era. That's the kind of music that was coming out and sounded almost like bands sort of like followed the same suit of the style.
And you see that happen a lot with bands that change with the time, like Pantera back in the day used to be like all straight up glam rock band. Listen to ZZ Top back in the day, and they were a lot more they weren't quite as like blues rock as what they used to be. And like this movie, as well as I think it's Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story there, like do a good job of showing how these bands are basically jumping fad to fad to fad. The only thing is, if you try doing that in real life, at least if you're a smaller musician, by the time you get that material out there and get all that done, you're already on to the next fad. And then so you're always a step behind.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
It just takes so much time for all of it.
That is so true. I do want to know though, Mike, who is your drummer? Because should they be afraid for their life? Because is it a thing that the drummers always die? Because it is in this one.
Drummers are so hard to come by. So currently, our drummer actually just switched over to guitar. So he's actually our rhythm guitarist now. So currently, we're doing a whole audition process right now for a drummer. But I feel like the part of the joke there is drummers, I feel, unless you have like Neil Peart or like Keith Moon or like some legendary Travis Barker, some legendary drummer, people go through drummers so much, and drummers half the time are just studio musicians and not even acknowledges the band.
Right.
But yeah, like I think they said they've had 32 or 34 different members, and the only members that have changed is the drummer. And they're asking the drummer there, are you worried? It's like, no, it's just a matter of the odds. And then their very last US show there, he just explodes right there.
For me personally, that's my favorite instrument. So I really like the drums. So I think that adds the most. So like if I'm not musical at all, but if I wanted to, I would love to be able to play the drums. But now looking at this, you don't last long in a band or you're going to combust.
I honestly feel like in real life, like I feel like drummers probably are the ones that last the longest, because at least, especially as of recently, we had a lot of deaths with singers and or guitarists. Those are usually, it's the drummers get all the energy out on the stage, and then afterwards they're all set until you start, getting into all the old age stuff, and you can't do nothing about that though. But yeah, usually I feel like it's singers and guitarists there that usually kick the bucket first.
Obviously, like these ones in the thing that are like, he died in a unknown gardening accident and all this kind of funny stuff. Like what does that even mean? Kind of thing. It's like just best leave it to
the cop said it should just go unsolved.
Yeah.
And
the problem is my head's vivid, so I straight away was thinking he was killed by like a lawnmower or something like that. I was thinking, is he trying to?
I was thinking like gardening shears or something.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know, but yeah, it just seems really strange that the drummers just evaporate into thin air.
Yeah. The next one then choked on somebody else's vomit, and their response was, "Well, you can't dust for vomit," because they had no idea whose it was.
It sounds like the most disgusting way to die.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
That was the worst part. I was trying to picture like, okay, and that's the problem. I went into too much detail in my head. I'm like, how on earth do you go about that? I was like, nope. This is nasty. This is nasty. Yeah.
Best leave it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of like, obviously there's a lot of different jokes and stuff, because it's kind of like it does like these interview stages, or like when they're just in the midst of the tour, and then they obviously cut to the stage and stuff. Is there have you got any favorite particular like jokes that, or sketches as you were, that come to mind when you're watching this one? Like, oh, that is so hilarious.
I feel like so when they're in Nigel's like guitar room there, and he's going through all of them, he's got the one that still has like the little slip thing inside there. Like, no, you can't play it. Don't touch it. Don't even look at it. Because like I have a nice one on the guitar there. I don't touch it. Nobody else touches it. So between that and probably the amps going up to 11, because after this movie came out, Van Halen actually got their amps set up to go up to 11 afterwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And like the fact that he's like still defending himself, he's like, but couldn't you just make it louder? But that's 11. And then that's how they end the scene there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just great.
So with the amp going up to 11 then, so I'm guessing they normally just go to 10.
Yeah, as he explains.
Yeah. So what impact does it have going up to 11? I don't understand.
It's one louder.
But
it's one louder.
That's all it is.
But is it louder in general? Like, or is it just more like noise? Does it make it worse going to 11?
Don't know.
So on a technical term, it all depends on what it is. for your volume, it'll just make it louder. It won't really do anything else. But the thing is, I mean, 10's already max, and if the amp already has a max there's no point in having 11. 11's just your new 10 then.
But it's just for the purpose
it's
of the
complete.
film.
It's all for show. It's completely pointless.
Yeah. What about when there's any like performance scenes? Is there anything in particular that really stands out for you?
Big Bottom. The song Big Bottom, I thought was the coolest, funniest thing in the world. I'm like, okay, so this is the name, and we have these like surround sound speakers in the bedroom when I'm watching it, and the song's all bass guitar, so it just, I'm like, what is going on? And then I'm watching, I'm like, okay, there's the bassist, yep, he's playing that, and then it says, oh, okay, Nigel's playing a bass also, like, okay, David's also playing a bass guitar. So it's a song here with 3 basses, and the only like kind of higher up part you have in the chorus is the keyboard player there, and I was like, I would have never thought of that in a million years. Oh yeah, that, and then probably Derek Smalls, the bassist, getting trapped inside of the little pod thing there, and just getting slammed on him when he gets back in.
Yeah. That is hilarious. It really is. But it just shows, doesn't it, what can happen when you're on stage. Like, you just have to carry on.
Oh yeah.
You can't, like, I would be in hysterics. Like, if I was the singer, I'd be like laughing my head off, really. But you have to carry on singing, even though he's trying to play the guitar.
Exactly.
Bless him. In this, what is it though? Like, it's
pod thing or something. Yeah, it's just way to describe it, and then he's like, oh, God,
yeah, he's got it like straight up like this the entire time. But the thing that's hard to note, and I didn't notice it till the second watch through, but if you see Nigel's guitar, he's got like this little kid's tiny electric guitar there that he's playing. It's probably like 2 water bottles here put together there for the size of the body. It's absolutely tiny. But since there's so much focus on the bassist Derek there, I didn't even catch it the first time there.
But with the bassist, I was saying, I think that was the Big Bottoms one was. Is this just? I know you can get guitar with like 2. Is it heads with obviously with the fretboard and stuff?
Oh, 2 heads. Yeah, double neck.
There does exist a thing with 2 bass.
The only ones I've seen like in person for a double neck bass guitar, usually one will be a fretless one. So it's just basically just the flat rounded neck there, and it gets a different kind of sound from it. And then the other one will be obviously a fretted one, or they'll have one that has just the 4 there, which is usually once again a fretless, and then the other one will have like either a 5 or 6 string bass there. But for the most part, basses are already usually obnoxiously heavy. So when you go tossing, making a larger body and then an extra, it's not needed. Anybody who plays a double neck bass, it is not needed. You guys are just showing off.
Yeah, I just assumed it was something, obviously, again for the film purpose of the film, just like something just over the top ridiculous. It's like the 11 amp.
Oh, all those they got from I think it was Norman's Rare Guitars collection there, and so all those are actual basses that actually, well, guitars and basses that went through actual production stuff that you can buy online.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Or at the store there.
It's interesting to know, isn't it? Because I'm so glad that you're on this call, because I think, to be fair, this film would be wasted on me a little bit if I didn't gain all this knowledge, because I don't know any of this. So it's insightful to learn. I do know something I picked up from this, Paul, and I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
So the vinyls within this, they seem to be like, their manager is really lazy. He's knowing that they're kind of going downhill and the popularity's not that great.
Yeah.
And it seems like there's not much budget. There's like, for either like the venues and such like that.
Yeah.
But also the vinyl. Right. It's all black. It doesn't even have a title. And I'm just like, is this like a good mechanism for a vinyl? Does it make you want to buy it? Because you collect vinyls, so
you mean because obviously, like, they were talking about the cover initially was like some really like vulgar, like sexist. What's wrong with being sexy? No, sexist.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was perfect. And during that scene, real quick, they both have cold sores on their mouth too. Like they zoom right in, and when they each had a cold sore.
Yeah.
I think I did go, Paul, what's wrong with the mouse?
Yeah, no, because I was thinking, no, wait, and then they cut the next scene, and it's like, well, they haven't got them there now, so that must have been at a different point. But it's like, yeah, it's weird. But But I think it's just the whole reason for the black cover is because like, well, we don't know what to do. Like, we can't release the album without a change of the art cover. And it's too late to do something now, so it's like, well, just make it black and just like mysterious type of thing. And it's like, oh, it's blacker than black or whatever he says, and it's like trying to make some deep meaning out of it. More so than,
like if they said anything was blacker than this, there'd be nothing. This is it. But I because I know they brought up about the Beatles' White Album there, about how that had nothing on it.
Yes.
Since they couldn't put anything on it. But the funny part is, even with the Black Album there, then later on, Metallica goes on to have their own Black Album as well after that.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of bands that have stolen stuff from this.
Like, even Metallica's had like a little snake in the corner you could faintly see, but
just so you knew.
But, and the Beatles did have, at least had the text on it saying it was the Beatles' White Album.
Was that at the side?
Yeah. But this had nothing on it. Literally nothing. No, nothing on the back, nothing on the front.
It didn't even have the name on it. Which
no, yeah, that was the weird part. No band name or anything on there.
At least you'd know what it was, I guess, because no one else would be like that. So it was original.
Yeah.
Gotta give them that.
Yeah. Sophie, do you have any joke? What was your favourite like joke or humour, if any?
I love how you're asking me this question. Yeah, joke, humour. Sophie.
You must have something written down.
Well, we've already kind of touched on it. It was him being stuck in that kind of cocoon thing that proper made me laugh. So it was more not actually their lines or quips. It was more like their fatalities that went wrong for them that I found more funny, because I think that the characters, they think they're so amazing and these big shots, and they're really not. They're going downhill and they're not even that popular anymore. And I think that's quite funny to see somebody who's been put on a pedestal and they still think they're up there. And it's like, actually, no, you're coming back down.
Funny.
And the cocoon thing, that was just hilarious. Because I would, how many times has that happened probably to a star on stage? Probably will have happened loads of times, where they have these fandangle things. And then imagine seeing like Taylor Swift stuck in a cocoon or something like that.
The best part is like how they're trying to get him out. So like it doesn't even pan to them trying to get him out yet. And what is it? They're just sitting there playing. Then I hear this clunk, clunk. Oh, what is that? And then you just see the stagehand over there with a hammer, and then he breaks out a like welding torch there.
Yeah.
He's also at the end when he finally gets out, and then everyone else is going back in.
And he's like, "Oh, gotta go back in." And he gets
He's half.
Yeah, hurries up, and then just just puts his fist up. Like that's how you own it right there.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you guys noticed, but the two mimes inside, do you guys know who those two mimes are?
Oh, I know one of them. I've recognised the voice. I think I saw in the credits as well. One of them was Billy Crystal, but I don't know as to who the other one was.
The other one's Dana Carvey.
Oh, right, okay.
From Saturday Night Live, that Master of Disguise. I was blown away. Because, I mean, what's this, 1984?
Yeah.
So he would have been pretty young back then.
So, yeah, it's like one of those obviously bit parts, and obviously then they go into greater things down the line. So, it's, the two other comedy greats there, yeah.
Is that wasted on me?
Well, you know Billy Crystal from Harry Met Sally, or Mike
Wazowski.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. For me, the two standout comedy bits in the film is one where Nigel's in the dressing room and he's obviously like having all the food buffet he's got. He's not about folding the sandwiches. It's like, you do this, everything's got to be folded. And it's like, would you want bigger bread or nicer bread or whatever? It's just, that was hilarious. Like,
and he's folding it all so incorrectly. He's like, and then you fold it again. It's like, no, it's already in there. It's already folded. See, the bread just breaks. This olive is nothing. This one, little guy in there. And obviously that's poking fun, I'm guessing, at like the ridiculous writers and whatnot for like a lot of the rock bands back in the day there. But
yeah, like requesting silly things.
Yeah, and it goes into like a silly way of going about it without it being insulting too, as well. And they tread right on that line. And they did an absolutely great job with this film.
And then the stage performance one, Well, it's kind of like 2-bit, isn't it? It's like when they're talking about making the prop for Stonehenge, and they've done it in inches instead of feet, and then it's more obviously like the band don't know about it, and then when it kind of comes down and it's just this tiny thing,
little
like,
tiny thing, and then they get these short people walking around, dancing around it there. That was a really good song, though. That was a really great song. That one and I can't remember. Tonight I'm Gonna Rock Ya, I think was the other like big song in there. Like they were really good, catchy songs on there. They did good on writing the songs there.
To be honest, I haven't. Truth be told, I haven't really listened to like the full songs in full, like the soundtrack or anything. But I imagine if you probably listen to it all the way through. But I don't know if it doesn't. Don't know if it's on Spotify, but it'd be like worth listening to and be like, oh, yeah, this is actually pretty solid considering all the writing and stuff and the effort they've kind of put into that, because they do sound really good. Just from the brief moments you see the songs.
Yeah, even like the ones where they're going through the different stages of the decades and whatnot, like what was that? The Flower People or something like that. Like it's a nice mellow song, but it's a really good song though. Usually I kind of expect like I guess like School of Rock or something there, where it's a simple 3-chord progression there, and it's like, okay, anybody could have really wrote that. But then here it's like, okay, so we've got these a little bit more intricate chord changes, and you guys got a whole keyboard section here mapped out for it. And I remember Nigel's talk about his signature solos, and it cuts to him shirtless there, playing like the same thing over and over again, and then he's like scraping his foot on another guitar there, which would sound like garbage unless you have it pre-tuned, which it wasn't. And then the fact that he takes a violin and just starts scratching it like it's the bow, and then the little tune on the violin there, that's what did it for me, because that's not going to do a dang thing if you're just scraping along. And it just keeps going. It's like, dude, if that's your signature solo, I am so sorry, and I see why your venues are getting smaller.
That is true. And I think it's a couple of things, really, isn't it? It's the ego of them all, because they all think they're amazing, but the management is an issue. And I forgot his name. Is it David? Yeah. Who has the girlfriend?
Yes.
Now,
Janine.
Yes.
I don't know if this is a thing in bands where there's always a girlfriend that has to be involved and then wants to become the manager. But she didn't do a great job, did she, really? But to be fair, they were going on a downward spiral anyways. I think their name had gone through the mud a little bit.
Yeah, like, where are they now kind of thing, which when they were appearing on the radio station or something. Something like,
but no, I mean, that's like a pretty stereotypical trope there. And I feel like a lot of bands, at least if you've been doing it long enough, you kind of learn to separate. It's kind of like when you're at work there and you don't bring your family problems to work there. It's like, okay, we're here to have band practice, write songs and stuff. But then some people, they can't find that boundary. Like, especially like back in the day there, it used to, like, with, once again, a lot of the like 80s hair bands there, you used to hear about it being a problem like all the time. Like, oh no, I don't know why my 5th marriage to a stripper isn't working out. And then like, oh, she's at every practice, let's have her in a music video, let's do that. And then to where they get so involved there, and then all of a sudden it breaks off and just screws everything up. But yeah, like the management there, I think his name was Ian.
Yeah.
You see in his office, there's like gold and platinum records in there. So he's doing something right with these other bands. But Spinal Tap is not getting the same treatment. Like every other scene's like, oh yeah, that show got canceled. That show got canceled.
Yeah, I feel really sorry for them in a way. It's kind of like, oh, it was so gutting, thinking like, because it's kind of like breaking through America is by the sound of things. Really, it's like like an untapped market as such, and it's just like not working out for them at all. It just must suck.
I think the one that you see with the scene where they have like, they're in a record store and they've got the vinyls and everything, and they've got the big signing 3D poster kind of them.
Oh, yeah.
And they're waiting for people to come. There should be queues down the street wanting a signed vinyl or CD, and nobody shows up.
Derek's just in there blowing his nose. Like, but that manager they had for the Midwest tour there, like, he was so over the top, like very Midwestern United States there. Like, I thought we were friends. We are friends. Nobody came. But
yeah,
I feel like a big problem for the band, obviously, before Janine took over as manager was well, it was obviously management the whole time. When you hit a situation like that, so you're already under a label there, and you've written the songs. Basically, the only thing you're really in control of is your performance there. And their management did absolutely terrible on managing them, though. Like, because there's budgets into advertising and radio interviews and all these different promotions here on talk shows and things like that. And the manager's supposed to set all that up if they do have a manager. And every time something's screwed up, it was like, yeah, we'll fix it next time. For every one fail, we get 100 wins, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but your fails are pretty big.
Makes it sound like you don't need a manager. You should just go by yourself and do it like as a band and just ditch that part.
If you like to keep the 60 cents you get for doing stuff, don't get a manager. Obviously, when it's a lot easier if you have a band that has like multiple members that contribute, which I'm lucky enough and all three of us contribute on everything, and with the whole recording and publishing and posting and all that stuff. But I feel like a lot of times if you do get that, it's one member that's basically doing everything. The other guys just kind of show up, do their part, and leave. And then that one member realizes, well, I can't do all this. And then they end up hiring out somebody. But as long as you get a band that stretches it all out there to everybody else so that everybody can bear the load there, then you shouldn't need a manager. At least, especially not in the beginning parts there, you shouldn't need a manager, really.
It's really interesting and fascinating, isn't it?
I've done my studying through the years.
I'm the novice. I'm not gonna lie. I think I glean so much from you two, and that's why I was so happy that Paul was saying when we were going to put this on that we were going to have Mike, because it's like there's going to be so much value added that we would have never. Well, you might have been teensy bit.
Yeah, but it's interesting to learn. Obviously, a man who's in the know more so
Exactly
in terms of how the production goes and stuff with it. But I know obviously like the touring stuff. I mean, you haven't played at like an airfield, have you, Mike?
Oh no. No, I've been to shows like on military bases from when I was stationed in Japan and stuff there. But even those were like a lot smaller than even anything Spinal Tap be playing. Like we're talking like there's a band called Hell Yeah that had the drummer from Pantera.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the singer from Mudvayne or something like that. And there were like, I want to say 20 of us there. So we got to hang out and like drink with the band afterwards. And even for like a bigger band at the time, kind of like we saw a Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. And we got to hang out and play pool with them afterwards there because there was nobody there.
Mm.
Actually, on that note there of that part of the scene, because you hear the radio frequencies come back later when Nigel comes back into the band, the same exact, which means Janine did it. She's the bad guy of the movie. I wanted to blame her for something as soon as she came in and started screwing stuff up. She's the bad person. She pre-set it up. It wasn't Lieutenant Bob's fault there. She had it pre-set up to get rid of Nigel so that she could run the band since she had David wrapped around her finger. She's the enemy. I'm looking at her character shot on Google right now, and she looks like an evil character in her mug shot there.
She is the one that kind of, because Dave and Nigel have that relationship, don't they? They've grown up with one another. They are like brothers to one another, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously it shows that relationship. Not that I should slag off any woman, but it shows what sometimes men can get swayed. They're kind of thinking with the pants.
Yep.
And they kind of do lose track of what they've created with their like
past friends
and stuff like that. And it's like, well, this woman, I think she thinks she's trying to do the band good. I don't think she's trying to be malicious, but she thinks she's right. And sometimes that's the issue. She's not right, and she's not doing really well because Nigel is the key star of the band. So once you get rid of him, the band's just going to flop.
Exactly.
And they start doing experimental jazz odysseys, don't they?
Oh my gosh, that was rough.
That goes really bad.
If you can't do jazz, don't try jazz. Jazz musicians are a whole breed of themselves.
Yeah.
They make chords up, they make keys up, changing tempos. It's like progressive metal, but like on steroids because there's no distortion to hide your mistakes in because they play clean.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
they're in like a festival environment though, aren't they, for that as well?
Yeah, the before
yeah.
a puppet show or something is listed before.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it
Like,
sounds
the
like
show
they're saying
sh-
puppet
she's
show
getting
Spinal Tap.
tapped, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like they're proper slagging them off.
Oh yeah, because they were upset because they were afterwards on the marquee, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You've got a bigger dressing room than the puppets. Yeah.
Yeah. The weird part was their lineup too. Usually when you see a band that has 3 people in front there, so you got your 2 guitarists and your bassist, you usually see the singer front stage and center, which would have been David there since he's the main guy.
Mhm.
You never see it set up like that where the lead guitarist's ego's so through the roof that he has to be center stage there. And by the way, in the very opening, it says that they're both lead guitar. You don't have 2 lead guitars and no rhythm guitar.
Yeah, I thought that as well. I thought, was that like an error? I'd forgotten that was the thing. I'm thinking, did I read that wrong?
It's
'Cause I'm sure that's it's probably like an ego thing. More thinking about it now, isn't it? Yeah.
But I mean, don't even think I saw David minus after Nigel left even play like really a single solo. So he's just playing like power chords the entire time. He's very easily rhythm. So I don't know why they put that on there. But like you were saying though about how Nigel and David were like basically like brothers. I feel like every time you have that in a band, as long as you guys know how to resolve your conflicts the correct way, then that's what makes great bands, great sections in the band link up tight. It really helps out a lot for being on the same page there for where the band wants to go, as well as especially in the writing process too. I'm super lucky enough. Our rhythm guitarist Austin, him and I have been like bouncing band to band and like jamming together since we were like in middle school, and so we vibe pretty well. Like when jamming together, he likes his scary heavy music, which is way heavier than anything we play. And then I like my hair bands and my pop punk and stuff like that. But like when we go to jam together, it's all coherent though. But then if you don't know how to resolve any differences you have, which we do, then you get a situation kind of like the Gallagher brothers from Oasis there, where they just beat each other basically, and then the band implodes from itself. But then you get a character like Janine to just put that final nail in the coffin there, and it's a delicate balance, especially with the more people you get.
Yeah, I can agree. It is one of those things, isn't it, where you can have that connection, but then because you're so close to one another, you always hurt the ones that you love the most. So like I probably would be ruder to Paul than somebody that I would work with at work, because it's like your boundaries are different, really.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it's insightful to see. And I think what I really enjoy is when Nigel comes back on the stage and David's like coaxing him in.
Oh yeah.
And you can see his face like thunder, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know if that relationship then carries on or not, really.
Well, and then like right afterwards, so he gets up there, he's shredding, and then their current drummer implodes on stage. And then and then next thing you know, Japan, and then they got a new drummer there.
Yeah.
His name's like Big Mama or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Poor drummer.
That's one of those things I always thought would be so fun. Like I can play drums a little bit, not enough to like play in like any heavy bands or anything like that. But it's like drummers, you got to remember they're sitting the whole time, like they're not moving around or anything. And drummers still kill the show. Like compared to some guitarists, I'd rather watch Travis Barker or like an old clip of like Keith Moon, and they're sitting there, they're just killing it the entire time. I've always wanted to be able to devote more time to it, but I realized my spot's on strings, so it's like, yeah, we'll get around to that later.
Yeah, that's cool. Is there any other scenes you want to bring up before we go to scoring? Anything else that stood out for you?
I think the main things that kind of stood out for me. So Christopher Guest, he plays Nigel.
Yeah,
I didn't realize it, but do you guys know who his wife is?
No, actually, I don't know. No,
it's Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, right, really?
Yeah, I had no idea. But also the other thing, I think a thing that made this movie great was that Rob Reiner here was the director. And I was like, I recognize him. Like, what else has he directed? Because like 2 years later, he had Stand By Me come out, which is one of the greatest movies I feel of all time. And then a year after that, Princess Bride. Like you were saying, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, A Few Good Men. Yeah. Like this was like one of his this was like his very first one, and then it's just hit after hit after hit.
That's right, yeah.
And I feel like that might be a reason why there was a second one that ended up coming out, because he finally got that backing there. But like his acting's great, and there's just so much great about this movie. I'm really happy I finally got around to watching it. The only thing that I really didn't like was just as Janine gets more into it, I understand you got to have, an actual storyline to go with. You can't just have Goofy the whole time.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
Oh, Janine's character just like, it's like, why can't you guys see what's going on? And then Harry doesn't care. The bassist. Oh, sorry, that was the other scene too.
Yeah,
in the
Derek.
In the airport there when he's going through the metal detector. And it keeps going off.
Yes.
And then he just got what was it, like a zucchini wrapped in tinfoil in his pants there. He just looks so defeated that just walks off afterwards.
Yeah.
They don't even bother scanning him again.
But like, I know it's an ego thing yet again, that's what the joke is, isn't it? But then it's like, you're going through an airport, you're going to be sat with that zucchini, if you did get through, for a flight. Like, how uncomfortable would that be?
What did they say? We've got iguanas in our pants or something like that. That's why the girls don't show up to the shows.
Yeah.
Armadillos, yeah. Armadillos in our trousers. Oh my gosh, what a great quote. That's going on my Facebook. But no, I think that was it. And then it's a great cast here they got too. Fran Drescher, I recognize immediately from The Nanny back in the day there. And then obviously, Fred Willard. A lot of these people I feel like they got before they got like super huge there, but then they ended up, getting big afterwards here. So
yeah.
Like I think Harry Shearer, who plays Derek Small's bassist there, I think he still works for The Simpsons, like from season 1 still to today.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah.
He's just so many of the different voices for that. So yeah. Sophie, you got anything else to say before we score it?
No, I think that's everything from me. Have you got anything?
Yeah, just one final thing. Nigel says about he's on the piano. He's like, oh, this beautiful. He's doing out. The D minor is the saddest note. It just makes you weep instantly. And then he comes out. What's this called?
What's the name of the song?
Lick My Love Pump.
And he's so serious about it. Lick my love pump. Or the other one when they bump into the other guy, like, did you see what his album was? He's all tied up and whatnot. Like, oh, it's okay because it's him.
Yeah.
You can humiliate the singer. Oh, well, that's just a little turn there.
Yeah,
because it was like, I think he said a grease up naked woman on all fours with a dog collar with a leash, and then they were like holding like that leather glove because it was like called Smell the Glove or something like that, and they were wondering why they wouldn't put it out. Like, are you kidding me?
Oh yeah. It wouldn't be an album I'd want to buy as a woman myself, to be fair.
No.
Yeah. Could you imagine, because they said it got pulled from JCPenney's and Walmart. Could you imagine going into Walmart and seeing that on the shelf?
No.
There?
No.
Oh my god. Their manager should have got fired just for even letting them think they could have done that.
Right, I think we're good to go to a scoring. So we'll start with you, Mike, if you want to give it a 1 out of 10 like before.
So originally I was thinking like a 9, at least when I was first watching through it there, and then we hit Janine. Now Janine unfortunately brings points down a lot, but the soundtrack really does bump it back up. I have like driven around with listening to the soundtrack prior to even watching it in the car there, and it's great. You can hear influences from different bands like Kiss and others. They went a great job about going about it, making it funny and but not offensive to that whole community there. So I'd say a solid 8.
Cool. I'm also going to give it an 8 as well. I know a lot of people hold this in quite high praise. It'd be like one of the funniest films ever type of thing. It's definitely funny, but I think it's obviously of its time more than anything now, especially. And so there's stuff to come back to and laugh at, like, oh, that's just great the way it's delivered or how it comes across or everything. But I think it's just a really a good watch, and it's good to just revisit now and again. And for me personally,
Okay. Now me. So I think for me, for a comedy perspective, this is really hard. So I don't know if you know, Mike, but I'm not really good on comedy. I hate Adam Sandler. I'd say in like any film I can.
Oh, I recall. Yeah.
Yeah. But this comedy actually works. It's got a fine balance of not cringe to kind of gives me a little bit of a laugh, not like I'm completely howling, and it works quite well. So that's in its favor, I would say. Definitely, it's not in a bad light in that way. So yeah, credit to that. I think I laughed once.
Oh,
so
what part was it that made you laugh there?
I think it was the
pod.
The pod. Yeah, it was where you got stuck. Yeah, that was it. That was my favourite part. I think in total, the music's good. I like kind of the genre. I think probably I need to look at a little bit more music in that area to kind of branch in my horizons, which Paul does with movies, but maybe someone needs to do that with music. Obviously, my mum was more like Elton John, George Michael kind of when I was growing up.
Oh, okay.
My dad was David Bowie, but Tom Jones. Or what's the other one with the triangle?
Pink Floyd.
Yeah, that's the one. Which, believe it or not, I hate David Bowie. I know that sounds so weird for someone to say, but that's another.
I remember us talking about this last time.
So yeah, just a bit of a bad childhood.
Musically, that is.
Yeah. So I think the music side of it, some parts you've helped me a little bit with, like the Beatles coming along, because that wasn't much played in my household when I was little. So for me, I think it's a 7. I can't bump it up so high because obviously there's a lack of knowledge from my part. The humour was good though. I enjoyed the bands. The relationship, I think, works out as a happy-ish ending in the end.
Yeah, you like to think so, innit?
Yeah, and they kind of get back on tour and they're doing well for themselves. Would I watch it again? No, probably not.
No.
I think it's one of those, I've watched it, I've seen it.
Yeah. But you know now you know the turn up to 11 kind
yes,
of thing now.
I will. I'll know least, that. At least I'll take that away with me. Whenever I will use that in a sentence, though, is another thing.
Well, apparently you got a sequel to watch too. But no, I mean I feel like having those two, David and Nigel there as like your two main guys, and not putting Derek the bassist in there nearly as much as like full blown lead, as more support there. I think it was a wise choice there, because otherwise, it would have been a little bit too much. But like you were saying though, for the times there, because this came out in 1984, so it's coming up on 40 years old already. And I'm sure, like, especially for back then, sense of humor would have been a lot more over the top. But all the jokes, I feel, still semi hold up there to where you can get a good chuckle out of them there. And with the physical comedy as well. I mean, guy falls down in the middle of a solo, can't get back up.
Yeah. Oh yeah, what about that?
It's like things like that, or even like the pods there. No matter what, somebody getting stuck in something like that in the situation, like, I feel like stuff like that's going to stay funny forever. And that's probably a reason why. I mean, right now it's at 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. Like,
high.
Yeah.
Things like that age well, I feel like keep them going.
Yes.
Definitely. Yeah.
And without going to, and kind of like you were saying, so Sophie, is like, it's goofy, but it's not like the slapstick kind of where it's too over the top there. It's like a lot of like little one-liners that dive in just a little bit more, and then it knows like right when to cut it off, because you can always turn it up to 11.
I like that.
Yeah. And also on the final note is the fact that obviously the three guys, they're all American, and they kind of pull off the British, like, you know, South London accent quite well.
Yeah,
for the most part. Yeah.
Nowadays you see people like what's her name? She did who's Scarlet Witch in the Marvels there? What's her name?
Oh, Elizabeth Olsen. Yeah.
Olsen, yeah. Because you notice she has an accent when she first comes into the MCU, and then like by the second movie, it's gone. By halfway through the first movie, it's gone.
Yeah,
completely.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
like
weird. Yeah.
Sorry, MCU, but you screwed up casting her. But anyways, yeah, they all like keep it going throughout the entire time there. The only one I thought was Derek's kind of slips in here and there, but it's like little softer, like quieter parts, like when they're seeing Elvis's grave. But other than that, like you said, it seems like they stuck with it throughout the entire movie there, which is good.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed revisiting this one as well. I hadn't seen it in a good while, and I remember it being quite funny. And it's like, yeah, it still holds up most definitely. I can see why people really hold it.
It's a good one to come back and watch like every year, every
Yeah.
couple of years or something like that.
On your own.
It's only a short runtime as well. It's only like less than an hour and a half, which is very rare for films these days.
I love that though. I don't know why films need to be 3 hours long. I don't have that attention span.
Yeah, some of them like Green Mile, I won't watch it just simply because it's too long. Forrest Gump, I'm not sitting through that whole thing. I think I've seen Titanic all the way through once.
Yeah,
and I was very disappointed.
I don't want to really.
I've never seen Titanic.
What?
I know.
What? Titanic is so long. Back in the day, it used to come on
Forrest
VHS,
Gump.
2 VHS. You've never seen Forrest Gump?
No.
Paul, how is this not episode 1? Forrest Gump is a masterpiece.
It's my fault, I think, because I know I'll cry. I know that it's sad. That's all I know. And I know they're saying life's like a box of chocolates. And I'm like, I'm going to cry. So I don't want to see it.
So you don't know anything about Lieutenant Dan or anything?
No. That's all I know. I know it's what's his name?
Okay.
Maybe it's something we need to do.
Tom Hanks,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It's to me, it has been on the list of like possibilities, but it's like oh, it's sad, I don't want to watch it.
Only if you get me a box of chocolates so that I can eat it while I watch Forrest Gump.
And she's crying there. It's so great.
Yeah.
Well, here's how it happened. So God made the world and then made Tom Hanks specifically to do Forrest Gump. And then after that, nothing else mattered. Like last time it was about the David Bowie thing, and now it's about
I always have to leave something with you, don't I?
I am so flustered.
He's not gonna come back anymore time soon.
Well, do you want? If you want, we can watch it, and you can always come and join us.
Yes. Oh my God.
Again, if it means so much to you.
I could watch Forrest Gump, like how they do the Christmas Story, like on repeat on like TBS or whatever. I could do that with Forrest Gump any of the day of the week. One of the greatest movies of all time.
And do you cry?
Do I cry? No. Well, the only movie I cried was My Dog Skip when he threw his glove at the dog. I cried at that. Let's also bring up I was like 12 or 13 when I first saw that. So
no, right.
Still get a little bit watery.
But not at Forrest Gump.
But no, it's not that sad. Jenny is a terrible person, so you don't feel so bad about it.
Okay. I guess
Sorry, I'm giving spoilers. Jenny's a terrible person. I'm sure you've already seen the memes.
No, I'm so oblivious. I don't know who you're on about. I don't know why Paul wants to marry me. I'm like locked up in a little cage out that I don't know anything.
Have you seen Dark Crystal? That's got David Bowie in it, right?
No, that's Labyrinth.
Labyrinth.
She has seen Labyrinth.
Okay.
Apparently, yes. I've had to see both. Yeah, I've seen Dark Crystal. I prefer Dark Crystal to Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Clearly. We know why, don't we? Because he had to sing, didn't he?
He had to, because he's an amazing singer, songwriter. Gone through so many changes. It's okay. To each their own.
Yeah, to each their own.
I feel like everybody on this earth needs to watch Forrest Gump at least once before they die, though.
I don't have to watch the Titanic, though, do I?
God, please don't watch Titanic.
Okay.
It's
Good.
Titanic is so long and dragged on. Like it's a good movie, but Leo could have fit on the door. Everybody, there's maps of how Leo could have fit on the door. He was over Rose's crap and her family. Didn't want to deal with it anymore, so he drowned himself.
Yeah,
it is all true.
It's so sad.
Well,
So true.
well, on that note, Mike, thank you for joining us on this episode. Sorry we disappointed, or Sophie more
No
specifically
problem.
disappointed you again.
I love how you have to be a teacher there. Like, it wasn't me.
Just so you know, hey, I'm happy that you got to experience this movie. I'm happy that I finally got to experience this movie because I mean, I didn't even rent it. I straight up bought it afterwards.
Cool.
So, and like I said, even just the soundtrack alone is totally worth it. And I always love being on here with you guys. Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. So, all the best with the continuing promotion with your band and the album.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Is there anywhere that Mike wants to
Oh yeah,
plug himself? Obviously, it's on Spotify and available on all of your platforms, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so the name of the band is Ashes Rise. The name of the new album is called Thoughts in My Head. And it's available everywhere, Pandora's, iTunes, Apple Music, YouTube Music. There's just so much. I can't keep up with all of them. They're available everywhere. If you look up Ashes Rise and then Thoughts in My Head, it should pop up on any of your music platforms there. So it's out everywhere. And don't worry, if you guys don't like heavy music, there are softer songs there.
There is. I
as
can
well
vouch for
there.
that.
So there.
and is the band on Twitter or Instagram or anywhere as well? If you want to keep up with stuff
we tried Twitter. I'm really bad with Twitter. I'm too old for Twitter. Why they put me in charge of social media is beyond me. But we do have we have Facebook and Instagram. Instagram is Ashes Rise Band. Yeah, Ashes Rise Band. We do have a Twitter. We're not on it that much. It's Ashes Rise 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look up Ashes Rise on on Facebook, it'll pop right up as well. So Ashes Rise of any sort there, you see their album cover, our font for the logo there, and that's us. Not many people trying to copy us. So
Okay. Well, thank you very much again, Mike, for joining us once again.
Oh, no problem. Thank you.
And hopefully we do have you back at some point.
Yeah, we've got him back for Forrest Gump now. I already know. Because he's so passionate. I'm so sorry again to disappoint you.
It's all good. It's not just me. It's the whole world you're disappointing by that. So
Too true.
Thank you very much for listening to this episode. And if you want to check out all our other episodes, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Good Pods, Podchaser, and pretty much wherever else you might get your podcasts from.
If you do want to have a look at any of the content or follow us on Twitter or Instagram under the handle SP_filmviewers, then definitely come on over there and either give us a like, share us around, give us a nice comment, or any other films you want us to review. We can try and put those in the pipeline too.
I think with that being said, we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye.
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 Bye.